Today's episode is brought to you by Bark Technologies. With parental control monitoring apps and the new Bark phone, Bark is the best comprehensive parental control tool for families. Listen to today's episode for more details. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Don't Make Me Come Back There. We are a funny podcast about family. My name is Dustin Nickerson. I'm a stand-up comedian and the host of the aforementioned podcast. And alongside me in our state-of-the-art recording studio with producer Andy, above Public Square Coffee in downtown La Mesa, is my lovely wife, co-host, CFO, cover model, art teacher, what's a new one? I don't got a
co-pilot.
Co-pilot
I don't know.
and hiking extraordinaire. Former former body pump instructor, Melissa Nickerson.
Hey there.
Hey, Melissa. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
You got to get your cup
listen.
stuff together.
I had mine.
Mel does a line of cocaine before the show, and by that I mean one single espresso shot.
That's right.
And gets going. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our little podcast that could. Backseaters, welcome back.
We're here.
Try and keep it down back there. We real quick, for those faithful listeners, if you could just do us a little favor and leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Where else do people listen to this thing? If you're watching on YouTube, a like, a comment, and maybe take a moment to recommend this podcast to a friend or something like that. We'd love that a lot.
We would love that.
We'd really appreciate that because, guys, I watched a famous singer talk about how when you're always the engine. Right, you are always, and when you get signed by as the artist and the talent, you're always the engine. And when you get signed by a label, they're not even that helpful. They're just the bank, They're just the bank that does everything. And you're like, how helpful banks are? I would love a bank. You mean financial security? You mean someone helping you to expose your creative work to the masses? That sounds wildly helpful. So in the meantime, you are our bank, and we would have it no other way. If you guys could take a time to send this to your friend Betty, who you see at Spin, and she has 2 kids, and I bet Betty would like this. Not during Spin. I don't think this is a good Spin. We're not workout.
It's not the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but treadmill.
Treadmill,
for sure.
Where Melissa listens to podcasts, specifically this podcast, grocery shopping. Melissa, we've discussed this, right?
Yeah.
Mel is listening to this podcast, so Mel's sharing it with a friend, her best friend herself. Mel is incredible. the narcissism, the self-worship is wild here. So. That being said, we got a little business to do up top, and then we're going to do a weekend recap of a trip up in L.A., talking about our kids growing older. We're going to talk about Universal Studios, and we got some emails at the end if we get to them, and I really want to get to them. So, that being said, the Halfway There tour kicks off in a couple weeks, May 19th through 20th at Salt Lake City, Wise Guys Comedy Club. Technically, it's the Ogden Club, but you get it. All right, just go to the thing. It's fine. You can drive. It's very It's a very drivable city. Yeah. Salt Lake City is so drivable. The rest of May, the 24th, Brea, everyone's favorite city in Orange County, right?
So I've been
told.
Andy?
Everybody knows
the best.
The jewel of the OC.
Putting Newport Beach in the back.
Brea is technically Orange County, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do people drive to the surrounding? I don't know Orange County very well. I know, but if you're in Anaheim, would you go to a show in Brea?
Yeah.
Would you Irvine?
Would
you go to Brea?
Right.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch.
That's a reach.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a reach. What about
if you have improv in Irvine, you would just wait till
you would just wait. Yeah. But I don't have that right now.
Right.
I mean, I will probably in
if there is no traffic, it's not that far.
Yeah.
The problem is there's always traffic going that way, so it's just
this is a bad pitch to my show. But if you're north, you gotta go. If you're in Ontario, I can't come. I'm not. If you're in Riverside, this is as close as I'm gonna get.
Yep.
Or LA.
Well, it's actually not that far from the Inland Empire in that way because you gotta, it's not that far from.
So there you go, Brea and Brea adjacent.
Gateway to the Inland Empire.
There it is. There it is.
I drove one time from Bakersfield to Riverside. I swear there were 9 prisons. The amount the amount of prisons that they build in that kind of stretch of northern Southern California, which is what I like to call Bakersfield in the Inland Empire. Like it is technically southern, but it's not. Certainly geographically it is, but it doesn't look anything and certainly didn't feel anything like Southern California, but it makes sense. There's a lot of land and prisoners. That's I'm not saying that about those cities. I'm just telling you there are a lot of fences and a lot of towers. With men standing in the towers keeping an eye on the fences. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, Brea.
What? You're like, what's that?
Yeah, you're like, all right, well, there's the women's one. And that's the one for the real bad guys. Okay, I got it. Anyways, May 26th and 27th, we're going to Des Moines, Iowa. And then in June, 13th, 14th, 15th, Chicago and Rosemont, 16th and 17th, San Diego. The 18th is L.A. We just added a second show there on Father's Night. It's Father's Day. June 18th, come hang out with me in L.A. at Nightcap. The 21st, Orlando. The 22nd, Tampa. The 24th and 25th, Boston. The 28th, Charlotte. The 29th, Raleigh. July, North Charleston. The 1st, 6th through 9, Tacoma. The 12th, Liberty. 13th, Columbus. 14th through 16th, Pittsburgh. 21st to 22nd, Nashville. 28th, Atlanta. August 2nd, San Jose. August 10th. This is a new one we just added. Fresno. Speaking of prisons, there are so many in that area, too. It's not a talk on you people, but we just added, I'm going to be at the Labyrinth Art Collective, which is a cool little indie room there we're doing in Fresno. No comedy clubs in Fresno. A lot of bar shows. 11th through 12th. Sacramento, the 23rd, Omaha, the 24th, Milwaukee, the 25th, Minneapolis, the 26th, Tulsa, the 27th, Dallas, the 31st, San Antonio, September 1st and 2nd, Houston, September 3rd, Oklahoma City, September 4th, Austin, October 27th through 29th, Phoenix, and December 7th through 9th, Cleveland. More dates to come. This tour is going to go for about a year. If I'm not near you, I will be eventually. Sounds like a threat. Also, if you're not familiar with Patreon, it's where you can give a little more to the podcast, get a little more to the podcast, and all things Dustin Nickerson comedy, or Dustin Mickerson. He's
Same guy.
He's an Irish comic. It's Dustin O. Mickerson. It's
McNally?
He's not thriving. It's bad. But he does not have a Patreon, but we do. And we have our Patreon Zoom hang coming out on May 22nd.
We just set it for May 22nd.
That's one of the nice perks of being a Patreon. You get to hang out with us via Zoom once a month.
That's right.
Speak into the pod. Speak into our lives in a lot of ways.
Just call us out.
I view you as our closest community, Patreon. And I just think
we just lay it all out there on the table.
The community is so important. And that's why
why we have Patreon.
That's why we have people pay to hang out with us. And I just feel like that's and that's who I feel closest to.
Who said money can't buy you love?
Yeah, I feel closest.
We just bring them our problems.
Yeah.
They give us good advice.
I feel closest when Carrie out there in Boston gets on and I say, "Hey Carrie, you're my best friend." You're like the sister I never had. And I definitely have a sister who I love dearly, who is also a Patreon, actually. But that's why I'm close to her, my sister, because she's a Patreon.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
We are off the rails here, guys. Before we dive in here, something very rare happened this morning. I got up first.
You guys know that's rare.
That's just rare.
Not to get on an airplane.
No, I got up first, and I did the first wave of household things. And this is how rare it is. Everyone was commenting on it.
Like, what's happening?
Everyone was like, why are you up? Are you and mom fighting? Is mom sick? And I'm like, hilarious that you think if mom was sick, I would let her sleep in. Or she would let herself sleep in. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You're sick. You're like, oh, someone's got to move the dishwasher, which is a very specific thing to our house. But we've got one of those little
roller ones. Yeah.
So you got to hook it to the sink, and then it's Mel and I were talking about how we want to people do the when they buy a house, like sold, they buy the
we saw someone do that last night.
Yeah,
on our street.
The pictures in front of their house.
Sold.
Yeah. We bought our first house or whatever, and we want to have when they're like renewed our lease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freeze birds.
Yeah, hilarious.
Still can't afford a house.
Yeah. But yeah, everyone was kind of giving me the side eye, like something's wrong, and they were right. I slept poorly. I woke up and was like anxious, and so they were right that something was wrong. But even the cats.
Yeah.
Even the cats were like, no, this isn't. It was kind of a little meow how I said that. Meow, no, no. That's how a cat says no. It's a no. They were giving me the side eye, and
because they're like, is he gonna feed us?
Is he gonna make us? Well, listen, there's food, but you give them a little tuna. You're above and beyond with the cat. There's nothing. They don't need that.
No.
Sometimes what you like to do is you like to add a lot of extra responsibilities that nobody asked for or needs, and then wave those over my head. And you'd be like, I fed the cats. You're like, the cats were fed.
They have their routine, but Grandpa was watching them this weekend, so they're not even looking at me. Mm-hmm. They're like, we were outside all weekend.
Right, yeah, we did come home and the litter boxes were not used, and you're like, oh, you guys just you had a weekend outdoors. You guys camped. You guys got in touch with your roots.
So they're barely making eye contact with us.
Yeah. So, but it is nice. I've been home for a while. I am on a stretch right now where I don't have to fly for like 13 days, and that's a big deal for me because I don't care for it. Mm-hmm. The only part of flying that I do like is seeing a tall person suffer.
Yes. It's one of the only places.
It might be the only place in society that a tall person has a bad time.
Disadvantage.
And I'd love to see it. I love to walk by and see in their eyes them wish that their body was different for once. Mm-hmm. Like the rest of us feel every day of our lives. That guy is sitting there with his knees on his chin going, I wish God would have made me different, in the same way that us short kings have been staring in the mirror for 38 years.
Right.
So yeah, I hope we get delayed. I'm rooting for you're in so much pain and agony. I hope this gets delayed. I hope we have to circle the airport at the end of the flight while you...
Well, I guess they just try and get that one row.
The exit row?
The exit row.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, a lot of tall people are rich, so they get to be in first class. So they are both rich in spirit, and I don't know statistically if this is accurate, but I know it's easier to get rich if you're tall.
I'm just sure. I'm not tall, so
I don't know that on a stat. I know that in my heart. I know that every part of life, especially for a male, is so much easier if you're tall. So suffer. I hope
justice in the sky.
I hope I hope that guy, I hope that you sit down between two other talls, and then before we take off, they make an exception that the person in front of you is allowed to recline their seat before takeoff, and it's allowed to stay down past Lanny. And I hope there's a toddler kicking you in the back. Your strong, healthy, tall back.
And the tray lock is broken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope for every bad thing to happen to you. And then, because then you just go walk through the airport and everyone's like, ganders at your beauty. People don't even know if you have a receding hairline when you're tall. That's how good life is when you're tall.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Anyways, I get on a plane on Thursday to Tucson. I hope it's all Talls to Tucson. I just
Then you will have your revenge.
Then I will have my revenge.
Yep.
In this life or the next. So the reason I didn't have to get on a plane this weekend is because we were up in Los Angeles, Hollywood, and so we are doing. We went up on Friday. I did the Comedy Store on Friday. Just did a spot Friday at the store. Tom DeLonge from Blink was there. That was funny. We were talking to Emily, the booker there, and we were just like downstairs, like the Comedy Store has 3 rooms. They OR, the main room, and then the OR is the original room, the main room, the belly room. And I was doing a spot in the belly room, and then you kind of walk down the stairs, and it takes you into like the staff bar area, and we're just hanging out there, and we're talking to Emily, and she goes, "Hey, Tom from Blink is behind that door," and I'm like, "Really?" And yeah, she's like, and I was like, "Well, that's fun. That's and she's like, "Do you want to go in there?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, of course I do. Yeah." I was born on the West Coast in 1984. There's nothing I would rather do than go, and we didn't talk or hang or anything. We were just in the same room for a while, and he was happy. He was having a good time, and then he went and watched a comedy show like a normal human being. I mean, not in the normal human being, in that he didn't. He
was
doubt,
like escorted.
But he should be. He should be, because I'll tell you, as a comic, if there's a famous person in the crowd, you don't want anyone else to know that. It might be fun if I was on stage and I saw Tom. I'd be like, especially because he was wearing a flat bill.
Yeah,
and I was like, Tom, you might as well have a bass guitar around you. Anyways, it was we did that, and then Taylor sold out 3 shows at the Pantages, and we were doing those, and we were up there with our kids, and we just drove to them, and the shows were as good as LA shows can be. LA shows typically aren't amazing. There's a lot of industry people. It's just a lot of people that are just kind of unimpressed by. They've just seen too much,
Well, it's a comp ticket for them a lot of times because they're industry.
Yeah.
So they're not really there for that specific performer.
Right. They're like an older man with low T. They just can't quite. They just don't get as excited as they used to.
I thought you were gonna go with that other analogy.
What was my other analogy?
Emily had the analogy about it's like rain in Seattle or something. Her boyfriend had an LA analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember it now.
That was the cleanest version of that analogy that I did.
Yeah.
But that being said, they were actually
one.
pretty good. They were like a 7, which is a 10 in LA. Yeah, it was like they were great. But it's it's a big spectacle. Taylor's a megastar, and all the reps and the peeps were out, and the pictures and the all the photos and the videos, and it's a big deal, the LA show. And Taylor always talking about like, this isn't, the LA shows are not who you really are. Like Tucson is who you really are. Grand Rapids is that's what touring really is.
It was kind of a relief too, though, because San Diego's this weekend, and we're like, okay, we got the industry stuff done.
Right.
LA was last weekend.
Yeah, so they're not going to be at the San Diego ones. Yeah.
San Diego, like they sometimes
can't go back to San Diego.
But you met your sports lady that you were.
Oh my gosh, Rachel Nichols was there.
Yeah.
Rachel Nichols. So Rachel followed me randomly on IG a while back. I think she shared one of my Austin rant video, and because that's what she brought up to me. She was like, "Do you live in Austin, or did I just hear you making fun of Austin?" I was like, "Oh yeah." That's the crazy thing about the internet. It was like when I did that bit about the TJ bit. Like Usain Bolt shared that.
No way! I didn't know that.
Yeah. You're like, what?
I think you did tell me that.
The internet is wild because everybody's on it. You just don't know. It's like one day when I got followed by Ben Stiller. You're like, what? And it was because we were like hanging out with Birbiglia, and he follows Birbiglia, and Birbiglia is loved by everybody. And I'm like, I was on Twitter where I have like 8,000. I'm a nobody on Twitter, and I messaged. I was like, "Hey Ben Stiller, thanks for the follow." And he's like, "Yeah, I saw you're hanging out with Mike one." And they like retweeted me once. You're like, the internet is bizarre because everybody is on there all the time. So Rachel Nichols was there, and listen, I'll make this as quick as I can. Rachel Nichols is like a pioneer and an absolute titan in the sports broadcasting world because she was one of the first female broadcasters, like sports anchors, sideline reporters, TV. I mean, in like the 90s, and like, I mean, she started working at the Washington Post when Jordan was in DC, and like which would have been the late 90s, early 2000s, and got on ESPN. And I just remember. I remember, and this was pre-internet, so it was just idiots, guys talking all the time. They crapped on her and her profession all the time. What's that woman doing down there on the sideline? I mean, to try and take on misogyny in sports. I mean, buckle up. Like, and her and Linda Cohen, who was she was an ESPN anchor as well. Just walked so like the Mina Kimes of the world can run, and the Joy Taylors. Like, I listen to sports radio all the time, and so seeing her was really cool, and she was very nice and very funny, and just a good charm, like a good hang. It was awesome hanging out with Rachel. So and Taylor was like, I've never seen you get this excited about somebody. I was like, no, I like sports broadcasters, and like to meet someone who not only is just like. Yes, important, and I did say that, like, and important, but also just objectively great at it. Really, really, really good. Like, there is such a thing that guys like in the sports world like to assume of like somebody gets something just because they're a woman. That's like an old trope, right? And I've watched Rachel Nichols for 25 years, and I'm like, she's better than you. I don't know what to tell you. She's better at this than you. There's no favors being done here. She's one of the best and really good. And she was like one of the first sideline reporters. That wasn't a thing back in the day. Like the being on the report where you talk to the coaches as they go in and stuff. It was awesome. It was really cool seeing her.
Awesome.
Big fan of Rachel Nichols. Really, really nice person. And the only person that like I was like, because I was talking to her, I was like, hey, I have to check the Kraken score, and she was like, oh yeah, absolutely, do that. So it was fun. So, but LA was a good time. A couple things happened that we felt
of
were.
Note.
Of note, if you're in Hollywood, which I understand some of you are going to, and some of you are like, oh, I'm not gonna go out to Hollywood, and that's fine. Live your life. I don't care.
You can go to Branson.
You can go to yeah, absolutely, and have a great time. And if you like that, I bet we would. We have fun everywhere. Yeah. We our family goes and spends a week in Alabama during the summer. We have fun. My kids can't wait to go to Buc-ee's. Like we like a little bit of everything in our family.
Sure.
But if you are going to go to Hollywood, I cannot recommend the Funko Shop enough. Have you been?
No, I'm not really a big Funko person.
Okay. Are you against it?
Staunchly.
Really?
No, not at all.
I thought we were about to get another Mario review when I'm like, okay, here we go. I do not know what this man is going to say.
Well, we've been in Hollywood, and we always saw families walking. We're like, where are they going? Like on the Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah. And they were beelining to the Funko shop.
It's incredible.
So.
It looks like an exhibit at Disney. It's because they have giant Funkos.
Very immersive.
And it's very immersive, and it's great. And you can get custom ones made of you.
Oh,
like you can design yourself and stuff.
It's like,
which I bought for me, not the family. Because they all wanted one, but it's like, well, I'm the only one that's a write-off, So I...
It's like,
and I'm going to give it to Andy for Christmas.
The Wii characters, like you can customize yourself.
Yeah.
So I think we spent like 2 hours in there.
2 hours and $200. Because when you're in there, you're like, no, I do need a Kool-Aid Man Funko. I'll put that somewhere in my life. We are a big Funko family. We're more open-minded than Andy and his family. But
listen, do what you want. Yeah, by all means.
But it was great, and
we had a fun time.
We really had a great time there. We stayed up in Burbank because Donut Hut is up in Burbank, and it was fantastic. And it was close enough, and that's where they have family hotels that can fit our huge family, our irresponsible family.
And our son could skateboard around.
Yeah.
I don't want Joel to skateboard on Hollywood Boulevard.
No, he wants to. But Burbank, San Fernando Boulevard is a little more. Olive Avenue is near the mall is a little more reasonable. So we had a moment though. So we've been swimming with our kids for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Like
on vacations,
in hotel pools, because our family probably stays in a hotel for 10, at least 7 8 trips a year, like 7 8 different hotel trips. We're like a hotel going family, right? Because I travel for work, and
we come sometimes,
and you come sometimes. So and I'm a titanium elite member with Marriott Bonvoy. Like, why would you not go with me? And you get early check-in, late checkout. You get the free market item.
It's basically free.
It's basically free. That's exactly right. Sometimes they give you an upgrade, and it's you're like, why is this an upgrade? You're like, the microwave is in the room. You don't have to request it. And you're like, that's the kind of service I want. All I had to do was be gone for 100 nights a year.
Yep.
And I get this.
They're like, would you like a water bottle?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Give me said water bottle. But we had 3 main objectives that we thought our kids were going to want to do. And what we like to do is I like to list the things, and then everybody has to say the order that they want to do those things, the priority of what they want to do, and
you can kind of sort it out.
And it was vintage shopping, which we would go to Iguana Vintage there in Hollywood, which is great, and the Funko Shop, and then swimming, which I knew that the oldest
Teenagers
kids would not want to swim. Like, they're kind of against it now.
Yeah.
And the youngest would want to swim first, or at least I thought I knew that. And everybody ranked them the same: Funko, vintage, swimming. And when that turned around to Claire, and she said swimming last, it was unbelievable. It was like, I don't even know. I like, my heart melted. I was like sad that she didn't want to swim, but also relieved. And also I was like, oh my gosh, my kid's getting older.
Yeah.
My kid would rather shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I saw the Funko bill, and I was like, we should have swam. We should.
That's why we always swam. It was built into the cost.
Yeah. I mean, reaching the age, swimming with your kids at a hotel, you're like, I'd love to do it, but I would also be okay to never do it again.
Yeah, I'm only getting in here for you.
Yeah. It's fun once we're doing it, but I swear every year the water gets colder and I feel worse about myself with my shirt off.
There was this one pool that was 5 feet, and all the water was going directly in my ear the whole swim.
Yeah.
And I had to text you. You had to go get me eardrops.
When did this happen?
That was in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because swimming is great with little kids because it gets them tired.
Right. And it's
good workout.
And you've already paid for it. It's the hotel bill. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember one time, 3 little kids, and I had water in my ear afterwards because it was right there.
It's a total, just absolute game changer. Now, granted, our kids live in Southern California. Swimming is not a novelty to them. They all had spent more time in pools before they were 5 than I did my entire childhood. You
can barely find a pool in Washington State.
Yeah. What's the point? Why would you have it?
Swim team. Swim team is the point of pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
indoor pools.
Yeah, we have swam so much, and I bet we've swam in 100 hotel pools with our kids.
Yeah, in the summer, I would swim with the kids 5 times a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's and we will again, but it's that moment where the little kid jumps in and you're just like, oh, it's gonna.
But it was also
it's hard
really
to find
sweet.
The motivation to jump into it.
It was very sweet.
But I do know that's why part of it was sad. I do know that I'll miss it. Well,
because she got a vintage sweatshirt that you brought back from Europe.
Yeah. And
you thought maybe Gloria would want it, but then Claire could wear it.
Right.
It was a little oversized.
And then she got some compliments on it.
She got some compliments at school, and she's ending 3rd grade, and she was like, wait a sec, I can get some more of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, she has a young teacher who was like, that's cool. I would wear that. And Claire's like, I want to get some more cool shopping in. I want to get some more cool crew necks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. When it comes to swimming, I know that I will miss swimming with my kids, and I also never want to do it again.
I know.
I think both those things can be true, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got out of the pool 2 years ago. You haven't gotten in a hotel
Dude,
pool.
Listen,
No, I don't mean that as an insult. It's harder for your skin, and also I'm better at it.
You're more fun. I have swam so much with the kids.
I'm not saying you haven't.
The last time we were in Burbank, I broke a toenail.
That's
and
right.
that was like, I will sit here and wave at you guys. I'm not getting in the pool.
I can't remember
I
can't remember the last hotel pool you got into. I think it's been about a year at least.
Well, because then this time, the hotel, like, it wasn't heated. Yeah.
Not well. The Universal one, it wasn't.
Universal.
Yeah, which we'll get into that in a second. And yeah, it was.
It was very cold.
It was very cold. This one, that being said, we did go swimming.
We just had kind of a cold spring.
Yeah, me and Claire and Gloria did go swimming still. Let the record show I did still swim, and I am better at it in the sense that I'm more fun than you in pools.
Yeah, usually you'll swim, and I'll like in Alabama, like I'll go get food.
Yeah,
I'll go get dinner. Or I'll shower.
I also got the food, but.
I'll say Legoland was my worst family pool experience.
Really?
For sure.
At the Legoland
you guys
hotel?
At the
Legoland Hotel.
Really?
Wonderful place to stay, but then I don't know if it's age or what it's based on, but to swim in the deep end, you have to wear a life vest for the kids.
Oh.
And so
because they don't, do they have lifeguards? No.
They have lifeguards.
Oh,
and all my kids swim. I'm like, they're just like trying to have fun. Floating on
That's
the
so
top.
funny. It
should
should
so
be
ridiculous.
It should be in a scenario.
Unless you're a Southern California kid.
I was just gonna say you should be able to show your residency card and be like, these kids, they literally
they're born swimming.
They went out the birth canal into a pool. They dove.
Or homeschooled. They were born in a pool.
Yeah. These kids dove head first. Yeah, they could swim immediately.
That's so funny. We. After COVID, our local pool had like a brand new regime and all these new rules. And they would stop you as you walked in and they'd be like, it's time for the swim test.
Right.
And the word test would like trigger Claire and she would like spiral on the deck. And we're like, could we just call it an assessment? Like,
yeah. Can we get a thesaurus and just rework an evaluation?
Since she was an infant, like, but the fact that you just said test.
Yeah. It's not ideal. That's not ideal. Not a perfect word for it. But we did not swim. So we bookended that Europe trip with 2 trips to LA. And so we went to Universal Studios 3 weeks ago.
Over the
Easter
girls'
weekend.
spring break.
And we didn't swim, and it was because that pool was so cold. Like I felt bad because you knew it. Listen, it was like it was Easter weekend. They just opened the new Mario Land and Super Mario World, and it was the weekend the Mario movie was coming out, and so Universal was packed, and that hotel, we were staying at the Sheraton right there by Universal, and because I'm a member, I got the Titanium Elite status, no big flex. Gotta get those points. And the pool, I felt so bad for all these kids who had come from Iowa and Kansas and the Midwest, and they'd come from Minnesota.
Everyone would have like their toes in, but
I know.
I think that was off because we went to Universal like a couple Novembers ago.
And that pool
was
warm.
And we night swam.
We night swam, yeah.
No problem. So I think they're renovating. Like there was,
We were at Universal and I actually thought the same thing I thought when I went to Legoland. I was like, I think this might be our last time here. We're having a great time, but I don't know that there's like enough here to entertain my kids for a third time. Like, certainly not worth the price of Universal, which Universal is not that expensive compared to Disney. I mean, nothing's expensive compared to Disney.
Yeah.
But it is. There are a lot of rides, and there's enough to do. And we've done it, but we've done it twice in a year and a half now, and I just don't think enough time would pass. But the reason we went back, they still loved everything, and there was a huge new exhibit.
That's why we went back.
Melissa, I am always worried about internet safety.
Yeah, especially with our kids.
Especially for you. I'm worried about what you are looking at, which is why I want to get Bark put on your phone.
Oh, boy.
Your phone, your laptop, your pager. I need to get Bark on
Bluetooth.
your pager.
Yeah.
On your Bluetooth. Yeah, the little one in your ear.
Apple CarPlay.
As many of you guys know, we are parents. As many of you know. You all know we are parents.
Guys, we're parents.
Or parents. And internet safety is, I don't know if there's a thing that parents think about more anymore.
It is so important
it is
and so hard to keep track of.
Yeah. And thankfully, insert Bark Technologies. And then a hero comes along with Bark Technologies to monitor your kid's phone. And there's a new Bark phone, too. I didn't hit that. I missed that one. But before that, I was crushing that. That was pretty good.
That was good.
Bark Technologies is a friend of the pod, and we love them so much. There's a couple services that we've used with them over the year. The phone, the monitoring of your kid's phone, where they send you alerts and what they're looking at, and they have different levels and things, whatever it may be. It's fantastic. You're not spying on your kid. There's just certain things where Bark goes, hey, you might want to see this, and they show it to you.
Check out this text.
And even better, simplify your life, ladies and gentlemen. Bark has a new phone.
That's right. And it doesn't look like a kid's phone.
No,
it's black.
no.
It's sleek. Yeah. Phones and technology is improving, and this phone grows with your kid.
Oh.
So maybe your kiddo is, kind of inching into like an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Or wants to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And you want to give him some training wheels to get there.
We recently let our kid get on Instagram, and it was because of Bark.
That's right.
We let our kid because we're less concerned, and because he's 15 and we're done parenting. But so tell them. But we also, we don't choose any sponsor for the pod. We like sponsors that make sense and we use in our lives, and Bark is one of them. And the new Bark phone is something that we're really excited about, as well as Bark Technology is what we use constantly. And we have some promo codes and we have some details. Hit them, Melissa. Give them those sweet, sweet details.
All right. So you can manage screen time. You can block websites and apps. You can monitor text, email, YouTube, and 30 apps and platforms.
Andy's excited.
You can get child psychologist advice and tips, even ways to approach kids when they mess up.
So how do they sign up? And how do they save some money, Melissa?
Let me tell you. If you click on the link in the show notes and enter Don't Make Me, all one word, Don't Make Me, you are going to get 7 days of a free trial for the Bark Premium subscription.
And?
As well as 15%
off for the lifetime of your subscription, baby.
That's right.
Do it.
Do it
everybody.
Now.
Bark Technologies.
Keeping your kids safe online.
Mario, which is one of the coolest, most unique rides and overall theme park experiences I've ever been to. It is amazing. I've also never been to one that was like that new. I mean, it was less than a month old, and we like Disney, and we'll go again, and we've been before, but like Disney doesn't there's not any part of Disney that like everyone in our family loves like the Disney movies,
right,
I mean, yes, the Marvel movies, and I know they're kind of expanding that more and more now, but not Star Wars
stuff. That's your thing.
If that's your thing, if Disney stuff is your thing, then awesome. But we everyone in our family, kids and me especially, love Nintendo and grew up on Nintendo, and they play their Switches all the time, and we play classic Nintendo games together, and it is incredible. Even as crowded as it was it is wild crowd. Like when we were there, so the way that we'll get into some.
The first tip is don't go Easter week, but that was the week we had to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, don't go when we went. But
if you are gonna
go, it's incredible. I cannot recommend the Super Nintendo World enough. I think it was so fun. And what I like about it is unique in the sense, though, you get the little power bands. Do you know anything about it?
Just I've looked at it a little bit because we're gonna go in June.
Oh, great!
So,
yeah. Okay, great.
Well,
so I'll talk
you. Andy.
Yep. So I'm tuned in.
Yeah. So you get the power bands, and now
those are extra, but just FYI.
Of course. Yeah.
See, I need to know that.
Yeah. You do have
the Mickey ears.
Get them in Universal City before you come into the park. Go into the Universal store and buy them there.
The night before we went to Universal City.
I am a question asker in person. So I went and I asked, what do we need?
We looked everything up online.
All of it I had researched in, but then I was asking them, what time do I need to get there? What do I need to do? How do you recommend? And an employee will happily tell you all those things.
Yeah.
And so you go in, and so you get the and now you go in, and everything's interactive. There are little hidden coin boxes everywhere you can do. There's the ride. There's the Toadstool Cafe, which I'll recommend in a second how you do that. But the coolest thing is they have little different games that you play. And if you get a badge for the 3 out of the 4 games, then you get a whole secret area that you have to show that you got all 3 badges and scan into. And then you go do you become part of a video game that you like a VR experience with, and you're throwing fireballs at Bowser Jr. and stuff. It's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
It's very, very cool and very, very different. And the Mario Kart ride is awesome. It is really, really fun. One of the best rides I've ever been on. It is super
so fun.
Yeah. We did it like 4 times. It was great.
Yeah.
Now, tips. It is surprisingly cheap to get the early admission into the park to go to Mario World. Like $20 a person. Like I thought it would be like $200 a person, $100. Like surprisingly cheap. They do a thing where the park opens at 9 and
maybe 8.
Park opens at 8.
Yeah.
And you can get into the park at 7. And the only thing that's open is Starbucks and Super Mario World. So you go to Super Mario World, and you can get through. You can do the ride twice easily within there, and which is a big deal. Like, when we were there, that it was getting up to a 3-hour wait.
We were in line when the park opened at 8. And we watched everyone come down the escalators. Yeah,
because have you been to Universal? Right, they have the escalators are the real ride.
Yes,
right?
They are.
Yeah. They're the iconic ride there.
Yeah, everyone's like the tour and the escalators.
Yeah. It's great. So you can get in for surprisingly cheaper than you think. I mean, certainly cheaper than a fast pass. And
but I think we were still in line when the park opened at 8. But we were in line.
No, we rode it twice before the. Oh no,
that was the second time.
Let me see here.
Listen,
let me rephrase it.
It was so early.
We rode it twice before the lines got crazy.
Okay.
And then we went into the rest of the park, which was pretty open at that point.
So we were like in line for the hotel shuttle at like 6:20.
Yeah, we did an early morning, which is not our family style.
No, we got a picture with Mario and Luigi at like 7:05. and we're like,
Luigi hasn't, or Mario hasn't had his mushroom yet.
Exactly. Even he looks groggy. But so you can do it depending if you're going on a weekend. Like if you're going on a weekend in June, you're gonna want to get that, and that's when you can do a reservation at Toadstool Cafe, which is like their food there.
You have to get in the Mario World, to make a Toadstool reservation.
There are 2 places worth eating in Universal Studios. Toadstool Cafe is amazing. It's great. The food's fun. It's not incredible. The best family food experience that you can have there, though, is the Harry Potter plate. I don't remember what it's called. Probably something to do with a dragon.
Like a
I don't know.
It's
great because they got like a big family thing that you can do, and there's alcohol, and you can.
It's like a tray of chicken and veggies.
It's a big family tray for like $60. It's great. Which is
like
theme park
actual food, and there's not a lot of places to sit in Universal. Like you'll see, like the streets are just like lined with people trying to avoid sun, and that place is indoors, and it feels like you're inside, a Harry Potter movie.
Right, it's fantastic. What I would recommend for those trying to go on a busy weekend, and this might be a lot of you because Universal is cool and you should do it. Is one of the days do the early admission, get in. Make your reservation right away to Toadstool, so you do it one day. If you're gonna do that, if your kids want to do that, Claire's like, well, because it's Toad and Toad's the cutest one. Toad is so cute and the best Mario Kart character, at least from the era that I played.
They have like videos of him all over the restaurant.
Oh, he's cooking. I watched him cut up the carrots for a while. Oh, it's like, he's doing the carrots again. It's amazing. We had a great time. And also, you're going to need to download the app because the Universal app. The Universal app is great. Tells you wait times. And when the park opens, you have to make a reservation just to get into the Mario Land area.
That's right. Yeah. By the end of the afternoon, like maybe 6 or 7 p.m., you don't. They just let you in.
Sometimes, yeah.
Depending on how busy it is.
But if you pay for early access, do you not have to make that reservation?
You do not have to make that reservation. Yeah. That's exactly right. Because you're already in.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you can have done the Mario World for like an hour and a half before it got wild, got everything you need out of it, and then the rest of the park's kind of open for you. So, and down there in that lower area, it's like you can go boom, Transformers, Jurassic, Mummy, you're out of there. You've done it. Now you can go up and do Simpsons and all that.
But then I'm curious if you made a reservation for Toadstool's Cafe later.
If
you
they'll let you back in for your reservation. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's nice because you want this our lunch, this dinner, what kind of situation do we want?
And honestly, the lines, at least for us, like for any of the snack places, are really long.
The lines got pretty long.
So you actually do want to have those 2 meals that we just said if you're there like a day or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Universal is a great.
Yeah.
Are you going 1 day or 2 days?
I mean, I was probably thinking 2.
Yeah.
What we had in
Which
mind.
I think is the way to do it. And you can.
That way you have more time.
And it's it's like all parks that if you get there early or if you stay there late, those lines get pretty light, and you can
if you can stay,
if you can stay, it really starts to clear up. Mario does not. Mario never clears out. One of the nights,
the first night
we were like, hey, let's go do Mario one more time. We already done it twice, and
we stayed like 15 hours.
Yeah, that first day we got there an hour before the park was open, and we shut it down. We're like the last people. We did a full day at Universal. We walked like 9 miles, and I'd stood in the line, and we had divided up, and I went and stood in the line, and then you guys came and met me, but then you stood in the line for a while too, like close to 2 hours. And we were literally getting into the cart.
We have these like visors.
Yeah.
And we're like,
it's a VR thing, right? Yeah.
Into the cart.
Literally stepping into the cart. And the guy's like pointing me a different direction. I was like, what? You want me to get in this cart? And he's like, no, we have to evacuate the building. I'm like, what? And it's like 10 minutes before the park closes. And
you had to evacuate the world.
And then I realized the fire alarm was going off. And everybody had to leave. And we were like literally getting on. Thank goodness we had ridden earlier that day. We were like getting
and we were coming back the next day.
And I will never not be convinced that someone pulled that alarm that worked there. Because they looked at that line and goes, there's no way. There's no way. Yeah. We let too many people in. We're going to be here
till 11:30.
We're going to be here till 11:30.
Yeah.
We forgot to cut the line off. We totally misplayed this. How do we get them all out of here? And then someone said, I know how.
Abort.
And still had a great time. And because I like a real dad was like, so wait, how come we don't get back in? And we waited in line for 2, and they wouldn't give you an answer. And I could
They're
see
like, at this time, sir, please go this way.
Yeah, there's nothing I was going to do. They don't care. Why should they? They're not Mr. Universal. They don't have a stock in my happiness here.
It was too bad.
It was an unfortunate thing. And I really felt bad for the kids that were like not our kids that had not ridden it yet. And you're like, this kid might be going friggin' back to Duluth tomorrow. So
we did look into something that we hadn't before.
Yeah. One thing that one thing that we did that we didn't, as a friend had recommended, is they do have some accommodation for kids with disabilities or anxiety or ADHD. Mm-hmm. And I forget what the pass was called, but you go to guest services, and it's actually a really good system. Because
we were kind of like, well, I don't know, are we like cheating the system? But then when we learned what the pass was, it actually made
it's fantastic.
Ton of sense.
So what it is, it's not a skip the line pass. It's not, you don't get like a fast pass or anything like that. What happens is you can go to the line and to the front of, say you want to go ride my favorite ride, Transformers, and you go to the ride and you show them, the pass for you and your family member, and they tell you when to come back. So you can come back at 1 p.m. or whatever. And then when you do come back, you get a fast pass, essentially. You kind of skip the line. But you can only do one at a time. You can't go around to all the different rides and be like, well, my schedule's full for the day. So you do end up waiting the same amount of time. You just don't wait in line, which is smart and accommodating, because that line is the struggle for the kid with anxiety or ADD or disability. The line itself is the struggle. Walking around the park, looking at stuff, grabbing a snack.
Just eating and running to the bathroom. You're not like doing 4 other rides.
No, you can't. Play a game,
you're
something
staying
like
in the
that.
Same area.
Yeah. So if that applies to any of your kids, I definitely would recommend looking into it, because it really made for a smooth day for us. because knowing exactly when to get back. Now our little girl with anxiety be like, we're going to be late. We got to get back to the time. And you're like, all right, well, I'm glad to see you so passionate about getting there now. But so, yeah, I would definitely recommend that. Definitely get the Universal app like we recommended. The food ones, what to avoid. My favorite ride is Transformers. I think there's a lot of great rides. If you struggle with motion sickness, stay off the Harry Potter ride. That's a bad one. But I could do the other ones. I could do this.
You finally did Simpsons.
Finally did Simpsons, which is a great ride. It's really, really fun. So
we probably all of us really like the Jurassic ride.
Jurassic Ride is the best family group kind of experience. Yeah.
It's got the big drop. And,
got a fun story about that.
Yeah.
So my dad used to work for a chemical company that provided the water solution for Jurassic Park when it before it first opened, it makes the water bluer. And it's just funny. He used to come home all the time being so excited about it and all that kind of stuff. He never took us on the ride. Just lived with that hype. And to this day, still have not been on that ride.
Oh, man. Well,
I'm looking forward to June.
June's
your date.
That's
great.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It lives up to the hype, in my opinion.
So,
It's been
check it out.
20 years coming.
You're going to like it. You're going to like it. It's going to remind you of him.
You're going to reparent yourself, Andy.
Yep.
Okay, let's do some emails, and then let's get out of here, all right?
Sweet.
Okay, so this email's from Jay.
Hi, Jay.
And the subject is peddling Dustin in her DMs.
Okay.
A few months ago, I joined a free dating app. I've since deleted the app, but there was a single mother on there who seemed interesting, and she included her Instagram handle, so I clicked that follow button. She frequently shares memes about guys sliding into her DMs, so I heeded the warning and I never did. But this weekend, she shared a reel in her stories from the account of one Dustin Nickerson, and I couldn't help myself. I did some peddling for you and replied, Dustin is great. You need to check out his new special on YouTube. It's hilarious. You're welcome.
We do appreciate
and
that.
This is what I'm talking about, people. I mean, come on, Jay. He said, you're welcome. After sending the message, it took me back to her story, and that's when I realized which reel she had shared. It was your reel about not asking parents if they've seen any shows because unless it's Bluey, they haven't seen it. Catching the irony that I had just told her to watch her special, I followed up that message with, I guess I just became the exact person he was calling out. A few hours later, I finally received the laughing reaction back, but I don't think that was a great way to make a first impression. Although unlikely, I'll make sure to keep you updated if it leads to anything. Jay, keep us posted.
Yeah.
She knows you have good comedy taste.
Well, Jay, she does have to get groceries, so maybe the podcast?
Now we're talking. And Jay, let her know, that you get a shout out in this week's episode, and that I'm a fan of you, Jay. So I know who you are, Jay.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more emails. Here we go. Subject: Dustin's Comedy Corner and DIY. Dustin and Mel. This is from Dan. Dan.
Hey Dan.
Dustin and Mel.
Dan is stationed overseas.
I was disappointed to miss the Patreon Zoom hang, but time zones. I have some Dustin's Comedy Corner questions. Dustin, what joke from the special do you think will go into your Comedy Hall of Fame montage? What bit took the longest to get to its final form? Were there any jokes that you tried on out but the audience didn't appreciate as much as they should have? And then it's a question for you, Mel. What's your favorite joke from the special? Okay. The joke from my special that took the longest to get to its final form was definitely all the political stuff. It always does. It just takes the most tap dancing and negotiating with your audience what they'll let you do and not do. And it's, I think one of the best comedy bits ever written is by Jim Jeffries. It's his 20 minutes that he does on gun control. And it's really masterful to watch how he gets into bits and how he disarms the crowd. That was a unintentional pun there. Disarms, if you watch mine closely, I'm doing a lot of the same things. I try to find political stories we can all unite on. There's 2, laugh. Mm-hmm. Now, let me say this before I get started. Your politics are like your children. I don't care about them. I'm telling you out of the gate, I have no strong stances here. I'm not, and that I'm striving for unity. So what my goals are when I'm saying, which is I am trying to make this funny. That's the only part of this business that I like is comedy. I was thinking about this last night when like when we were like they were LA shows, so they were like there's like like these people that like we're taking headshots and they like these people take these amazing photos of me and stuff, and I'm like, I don't care about this. I didn't get into this for this reason. I don't like interviews. I don't like press. I don't like agents. I don't like the money side. I don't like any glamour. I don't like trying to look cool. I hate all of this. I don't want to say I hate it all. It's just not for me. I like the comedy part of it. That's what my whole
joke writing.
I like laughing. I like my whole objective in life is to be less serious. I hate a serious life, and so when we're being serious, I don't like it. So I would say the political stuff, and I think it showed because it got good laughs, and those jokes had been worked out in Alabama and Florida and New York and Portland and Davenport and San Francisco. Those jokes had made the rounds. Very similar to when I did my vaccine jokes. Like you really iron these out. So to answer the first question of like what joke do you think will get in your Comedy Hall of Fame montage? Probably I mean, people really like the Victoria's Secret bit.
Like mass appeal.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, some of it is just seeing that's determined by like which ones go like viral and stuff, and that's kind of still TBD because none of them have yet. Still working on that. I think people really like the Stabby Tabby story and all the stuff about being raised redneck. I don't know. It's hard for me to say.
Give it time.
I think you never really know what bits people will know and resonate with the most.
The ones they'll bring up.
Yeah, but that's your question. What's your favorite joke from the special, Mel?
It's just very random and specific, but the rash story. With the nudes.
Oh, the sending the nudes,
and then you do like, is this infected?
Yeah.
Will you message
Can you upload it to the doctor? I forgot my password.
Yeah, which is very specific, but it was written last summer, and you actually wrote it with Jeff
and then
Foxworthy on his podcast too. But it was so relatable because that literally happened last summer, and then ADD and passwords and so it's very us. And then the tag you wrote, the formal name Stabitha. That's funny. Just like an all-time giggle for me.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So those two. Yeah. Just like off the top of my head.
Right. Yeah. I probably and honestly.
And then Indigenous People Burn.
I mean, that one's a banger.
At post show, everyone was talking about.
I would say Indigenous People Burn and cyberbullying too. Cyberbullying went first for a reason. So okay, and then DIY. This is the other part of it. Just in case Cindy tries to tell you a DIY horror story without me getting to say my side, it's perfectly normal to spend a year refinishing the dining room table and then have to move on to one of the chairs to the next house because you didn't quite get around to that part of the project, right? Congrats on the special. Please come to Washington, D.C. after August. I will. I bet I will. Cindy.
Almost back.
Tell us the rest.
Almost back.
Okay. This is an email right here from Dan, and the subject is midlife crisis. Good/bad advice needed.
All right. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dustin and Mel. I recently turned 40, and I think I'm fully in my midlife crisis. I recently quit my full-time job to run a few small businesses, a hot dog stand, a backyard barn/shed company, and also do some business consulting. Meanwhile, I've been writing material to start my stand-up career, have completely lost my mind. I married my high school sweetheart when I was 19 and have 3 kids, ages 20, 17, and 11. Seems like a great time to abandon my 6-figure income, right? You didn't have to put that in there, Dan, that you're rich.
Congrats, Dan.
Congrats on the money. I will soon be doing my first open mic at the Comedy Sparrow in North Charleston, where I have tickets to see you perform. I don't want to live with regret. Please talk me off the ledge or offer your support. Advice is appreciated. Love you guys. Thanks for all the great content. So, should he do it?
I'm going to say yes, you should try it because you shouldn't live with regret.
Mm-hmm.
Should you like devote 24/7 to it? Not yet.
No.
You know?
Absolutely not.
The goal is to get stage time and to practice and to get laughs.
Yes.
And to write.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And make connections.
Don't quit your other jobs. I held my day. Hold on to your day job and whatever's making you money for as long as you can. You are not, as I'll tell you, as a stand-up comedian, especially as a dad, as a husband, as someone who has bills to pay and others to provide for, you got to hold on to the money income as long as you can. There is zero rush for you to be a professional stand-up comedian. None. Because it doesn't affect how often you can do stand-up for a long time. Because you can be a hobby comic or a part-time,
a local comic,
a side hustle local comic for a long time. So what I would recommend to anybody is to keep your day job and to move or be in a place where you can get on stage regularly. I held on to my day job for longer than I needed to, for about a year and a half. Our goal was always we wanted 12 in the bank, 12 months on the bank in the bank, and 12 months on the books. So we could look and go, if nothing came in for a year, we could survive. And if nothing more comes in for the next year, like beyond that, we're okay. And we got to that point. And so there's no need in stand-up comedy to make it financially risky at first. It doesn't have to be a financial risk because it's unlikely that it's conflicting with your day job. And for a long time, I just made myself suffer and sacrifice. It was sleep. That went. So I, for the better part of 3 to 5 years, I would open up the rec center Thursday and leave around noon or 1 and either drive to where my weekend gig was or fly there and be there all weekend, sleep in the airport on Sunday night because to save money on the hotel, sleep in the airport Sunday night, take the first flight home, come home, shower, go to the rec center. I did that for so many weekends over, and that is the way to do it because it's already risky to try a new thing, to put yourself out there, and you should. Don't live with regret. Pursue your dreams. Go for it. You're going to know if you like stand-up immediately.
Yeah, is it worth all that?
Because it's so bad
trouble
at first.
Yeah.
It's so awful. It's as bad as it gets. Stand-up is at its absolute worst at the beginning.
Open mic.
At open mics, the quality of the crowds, the quality of you. You're bad together. You know, you're just like a couple awkward teens that don't know how to dance, you know, like you're just like, we don't know how to do it. So it's only going to get better than that. But if you like it right away, then you've got a problem, unfortunately.
And you'll put up with all
the other crap because you're like, I know, but when it's good, it's good. It's really good. You know?
the stage drug.
But you don't have to quit, but you do have to try this. You do have to
try it.
Yeah.
But then also you need to like obviously dialogue with like your spouse and all that because the sacrifice is the time away.
Yes.
You know, like you're going to
100%.
You're going to miss like
nights
extended family gatherings.
That's the good part. That's fantastic. You know how many, oh my gosh, yeah. You know how many things I've gotten out of?
Sports things.
You're going to get to miss so many birthday parties of other kids. Make it to yours. But the other kids, Dustin's out of town.
You gotta finesse that one.
You're
with
I saw his calendar. Isn't he in town? Isn't he promoting a local date?
He's at home. No.
I think you should absolutely try it.
So,
I think I have a different relationship with this than a lot of other comics. If you told me to quit, I would quit tomorrow. And I think that is a bigger question. You're wrestling through the nice thing about I totally relate to what you're thinking right now and the way that you're feeling because you're wrestling through not what do I want to do for my job, but you're like, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to feel about my life and who I am?
Did I not try something I always wanted to try?
Did I not try something that I wanted to do?
But maybe your spouse is in the same spot.
Yeah.
And they have something that they want to try.
Absolutely.
And you need to work on that with them. And also, they didn't marry a comic.
Yeah, that's true. Neither did you.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like, the Tom
You
Brady.
married an idiot. You married a buffoon. You married a clown, not a comic.
And that's tricky.
Yeah.
So
it took me a while to monetize my clownery.
So you need to keep that in mind. It's
Yeah.
going to look totally different for you.
Well, what I was going to say
and
in
your
that,
family,
Dan, is then you will, and I think I am different in this than a lot of comics, is I ask myself, well, what do I want with my life? And I want to be happier with my family than my career. And so if my family, this is why any of the kids are allowed to take jokes out. I don't like that joke about me. Gone. It's gone. I don't care. Yeah. No, I want to be close to my child because I don't want to get to the end of my life and be like, I did it all for the jokes. That's what mattered is the truest art form, modern day philosophers of stand-up comedy. No. That's great. All those things are kind of true, but I want to have like happy, healthy relationships in my life because that can actually make you like happy.
right?
So,
and you can write another 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Write a new joke. Yeah. People are like, I got to keep that joke in, or just bad writers. Write something new, write something more interesting. Yeah. So in review, give it a try. If you're gonna, because any spouse can get behind giving it a try. That's no harm. Whether or not you continue to do it after that, you're gonna know if you want to right away. But that has to be an ongoing dialogue with the people that are close to you in your life.
Yeah.
Good?
Mm-hmm. Good.
All right. Thanks, everybody. All emails are welcome over at dontmakemecomebackthere@gmail.com. Thanks so much, guys.
All right. Bye.
Hey there, everybody. Wanted to give a special shout out to our As Essential as Oils patrons. That's our highest level patron, $25 up in a month. Thanks so much for supporting the podcast. That's Adam Bush,
Allison Nelson,
April Griffiths,
Bonnie Galindo,
Caroline Crimmins,
Carrie T,
Code to Grow,
Courtney Eibling,
Demarius Diaz-Stevens,
Dave and Melissa Cox,
Dave Hoagland,
Farrah Journey,
Isaac Teron,
Jason White,
Jennifer Ashley Downs,
Jessica Sewell,
Jordan Cowan,
Lori Amos,
Matt and Sam Slosdom,
Nathan and Jennifer Merritt,
Nicole Carraz,
Rachel Wilson,
Rachel Kennedy,
Robert and Nellie Capen,
Stephen Mena,
and Tiffany
Payne.
Thanks
so much, everybody, for supporting the pod. Appreciate you so much.